Every year, the sleepy town of Hermanus comes alive when they are visited by the giants of the ocean. It's the whale festival. It's just so incredible to see how these massive whales come so close to shore.
Now, I don't know about Jeannie, but the only thing I really want to see is one of those white lions, hopefully illuminated in the moonlight.
Paarl, wineland supreme.
It is one of the most beautiful regions in Cape Town. Rolling hills, valleys with vineyards, and definitely a place to be visited.
Even if you were on holiday here for an entire month, you wouldn't have enough time to visit all of the wine farms in this region. It is so rich with vineyards and color. It's really one of the most spectacular places in the world. We stayed at Grande Roche, which is one of the oldest established old ladies, really, of Paarl. And it's so rich in history because all of the lodgings on the area were actually old slave quarters. So these buildings are all heritage sites?
Absolutely. What is so wonderful about this particular site is that you have the manor house, which was the original farmhouse, and then you have these outbuildings which are essentially as they would have been from about 1717 onwards, when Hermanus Bosman was granted this tract of land and developed it. And as you can see, we've tried to retain the natural outlook with the shuttered windows and the barred windows. And then on this side is the original wine cellar. And you can see on the building that it's very, very historical and goes back some 200-300 years.
So are these also the original buildings?
They would have been, indeed. These buildings particularly would have been old farm outhouses that were refurbished into a hotel in 1991.
My room was just outside the vineyards. It almost felt like I was in the middle of Provence. This was something magical, something incredibly romantic. This certainly doesn't have that farmhouse feeling.
No, I think we've taken what is originally farmhouses or outbuildings and given it a really nice, minimalistic, contemporary look about it.
I'd call the winelands in Paarl, Franschhoek and Stellenbosch the greatest gift the French Huguenots ever gave us. Because they gave us a culture of grapes and of wine. A culture so great that I think on certain farms and certain wines we actually outdo the French.
What an incredible setting. We've got Paarl Rock in front of us, the valley to the right of us. Tell me about the wines of the region.
Yes, you have Paarl is one of the most warmest regions in the world, and you have to handle the heat, plus the wind, plus the rain, and it's quite difficult to make under such circumstances wine actually. But what the winemakers do here, they can handle it. They're experienced enough to do with those circumstances fantastic wine.
Do they have whites and reds in the valley?
Paarl is more suitable for red varieties, Cabernet Sauvignon, more Merlot, more Bordeaux varieties, a little bit Cinsault, because those are the other grapes which can handle the heat.
In your non-biased opinion, how do we rate internationally?
Better and better each and every year. You can get like Wine Spectator 95 points, 94 points. This is for a new world wine region. Basically, it's phenomenal.
Proudly South African. I'll drink to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
When you visit the wine region in Cape Town, you're spoiled for choice. Hundreds of wine farms, so many good restaurants, so many good locations that it's difficult to make a choice. I think we chose one of the best. We went to a place called Del Air.
Tanya, this has to be one of the most striking dining rooms I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you, Janez. It is exquisite. We worked with the fantastic decorator David Collins of London, who has created this space. And all of the art that you see has been personally selected by Mr. Graff, the owner of the property, and specifically placed by him. The piece that you see hanging over the fireplace is one of my favorite pieces on the property. It's actually a work by William Kentridge. It's one of his earlier works, so you see quite a lot of use of color. And Mr. Graff bought that piece 20 years ago in London on an auction and has been very happy to return it to Africa.
Not only is the wine on this estate sensational, but for me the wealth of the farm is the art collection. The works are perfect, and they're not pretty to go with the farm. They've all got some deep edge within them.
Even in the art, you've kept it very African.
Yeah, the majority of the art on the property is Southern African. This piece is actually a piece by Dylan Lewis.
Dylan Lewis is probably one of my favorite sculptors because he doesn't try and achieve perfection. Instead, he gets stuck in there with these fingers and you can see the movement of his hands on the actual sculpture. They've got a whole lot of festivals, from Wacky Wine to the Bastille Festival, where basically you pay a minimal fee and you just travel to all of these different wine farms and taste. That is the most fun to have in Cape Town. Is this the Cabernet Sauvignon that you've created?
Yes, it's from the 2009 vintage. It's one block on the farm that's really outstanding. Stylistically, it's quite full, quite rich. It needs about a year in the barrel. After a year, we'll make an assessment on the barrels and then select 15 barrels out of the lot. And then we'll keep that for additional 4 to 5 months in oak to just get more richer, more fuller.
Even if you know nothing about wine, I can guarantee you that in one day you can become a wine connoisseur. Because you're going from place to place, farm to farm, and everywhere you go, you're tasting a slightly different wine from a different year with a different wine master teaching you all the tricks of the trade.
It's an educational experience, really, and still unbelievably social and fun. Bosmans, which translates to Bushman's, is the restaurant on the farm, and it's rated as one of the best restaurants in the world. I soon understood why.
What are you doing here?
Hello, Chef.
Hello.
Same thing I always do in a kitchen, nothing. What's on the menu?
We have here nice tempura prawns, and then a springbok with a bread dumpling, and then a drie of ostrich.
This is nice because it's really good South African food. I like the ostrich because it's a really lean meat. In fact, it's the leanest meat you can ever have, so you can eat as much as you like of it. You won't put on weight. This restaurant is rated as one of the top in the world. Why would you say it is? Is it because of the chef?
I don't think so. I think it's a combination of everything. The view, the country, the different pieces of what you actually can eat. A lot of things what actually make the whole place very, very nice to come and enjoy your holidays.
Oh, my favorite part, food.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So, for the food and wine pairing, we stay in Franschhoek. We have a very small wine farm, Labrie, Franschhoek, 100% Chardonnay.
And why would this be paired best with what we're eating?
Because it's a slightly sweet fruit salad. And you have the laksa. Laksa is based on garlic, saffron, the ink-flavored tempura prawns with the slight soya flavored vegetables. It's just perfect.
There are not many places in the world that you can go and enjoy a fantastic meal and then have an expert tell you which wine to pair it with. And that's the experience you get at Grand Roche.
Just enjoy it.
Thank you.
I don't know, is it wrong of me to say that everything's better in South Africa? The weather, the food.
Yes, it is, because in every other country you went to, you were like, oh, this is my favorite country, oh, this is my favorite thing. However, service and food
Impeccable.
is tops in South
Impeccable.
Cape Town, bustling, phenomenal city.
It's magical. It's the attitude of the people. It's the color of the sky, the freshness of the air, the mountains, the dramatic landscapes. It's my favorite city.
The mother city. It's so beautiful, my favorite city in the world. Not many places can boast a fantastic mountain overlooking a bustling city.
And also a nature reserve on our back doorstep. I mean, where else do you get this?
Table Mountain.
We gotta go up. We gotta go up.
This cable car takes about 65 people, and that's about 900 in an hour, all to see one of the most beautiful mountains in the world.
It's 1,200 meters high, and those cables weigh 18 tons. How many tourists actually come here?
Well, on a busy day, we'll have about, say, 10,000 or more.
10,000.
10,000 tourists a day.
Shocking numbers, eh? For the record, we had 19,000 people on one day on this mountain.
Really? I look at Table Mountain every day of my life. I've climbed up Table Mountain, I've taken the cable car up and down. Never thought about abseiling down Table Mountain.
Hi, Nico.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good yourself.
Jeannie, nice to meet you.
Meet you.
Hi, hi. How you doing?
Good. Are you guys excited being here?
We are very, very excited. Take me through the concept of exactly what we're going to be doing. I mean, it's called abseiling.
So basically, you're gonna slide down a rope down a mountain.
Okay, hang on, but what's going to stop me from falling? That's all I want to know.
There's
Yeah,
a
how
safety
safe is
rope
it?
that one of we control.
So if I let go of everything and I pass out, which might happen, I'm not going to fall to the bottom of the mountain.
No, no.
How far is it? How long is the drop?
Well, it's only a 112-meter abseil.
And how long is it going to take us to get from here to the bottom?
The time on the rope is anything from 17 seconds to about 15 minutes. It depends on how confident you are.
Okay, let's get strapped up.
Cool.
Yay, let's do it.
Okay. I always thought that I had like a Bond girl alter ego. I've gone skydiving. I've gone shark cage diving. I've even climbed the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Abseiling? It had me sweating.
The moment I stood there and I looked down, and there was just a vertical drop of hundreds of meters, my heart stood still.
We've been traveling the world for 6 months, and now finally we're in our own home country, and this is how it's gonna end. I really, really loved this mountain before I attempted to jump off it. So I actually can't do this. It's absolutely terrifying, and it's also the highest commercial abseil in the world. Are you gonna really do this? Because I don't think I'm gonna do this.
Come, Janez, you can do it. You can do it, come.
Where am I holding? I've got to hold something. The only thing that led to my anxiety was the fact that you've got to stand on an edge of a cliff with your back facing it.
It's just getting over that edge. That one moment, that split second of hanging there.
You've just got to dip back, make sure your feet are on this rock, and just trust in this rope. It is daunting. And I allowed myself to go. I found safety and solace in the fact that my feet were sort of plotted on these rocks moving down, and that eventually we got to a point where there weren't any more rocks.
I can see the bottom, but we're basically going over an overhang. This is probably the scariest part. No! Okay, we're free falling. They didn't tell us about it, but basically we're leaving the cliff face and we're gonna free fall for what seems about 60 odd meters. Completely terrified, my hand shaky.
I cannot tell you how my heart was rushing. And it was worth it. It was worth it. I actually, believe it or not, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. Hout Bay Harbour is an active fishing harbour, and it's been around for so long that the first fishermen there were probably the late Stone Age people. Now, it's such a busy harbour with tourists, with fishermen, that in fact, every single day they have these boat charters to come out to visit Seal Island, and it's a huge tourist attraction.
The best time to visit Seal Island is early in the morning when the seas are calm and the sun is out. It's only about a 5 to 10 minute journey to get to Seal Island, and there are thousands of seals.
Now, there are 35 different species of seal. However, these are the Cape fur, and they're absolutely beautiful.
I can't believe how many of them there are. There are thousands of them. Most of them are actually males, and they're basically basking in the sun, waiting until they're about 8 to 12 years old when they're ready to start breeding. It's a non-breeding colony or non-breeding island. The problem is, if these little seals jump into this water, it's filled with great whites. Something I wouldn't want to do.
They're such performers. They were clapping and swimming and diving, and then they were being washed up onto the rock. And I was thinking, how did they actually get up there? Because with those waves crashing against that rock, you sometimes wonder, how's that little seal going to get up there? But their feet and their hands are just amazing, and they managed to wobble up there. Very funny creatures. When you're traveling through Cape Town or the Western Cape, don't do the quick and easy routes. Make a journey of it.
Take a look at that. Chapman's Peak has to be one of the most scenic drives in the world. Now, I've cycled this route over 1,000 times, and I promise you, every time I look at it, it gets more and more beautiful.
I don't know how you ever would have cycled that, because the distance is so long, and also on a bicycle, that uphill would have killed me.
What really fascinates me is if you look at the contours of this road, I mean, they're overhanging cliffs. It was built decades ago by the Italian soldiers. Quite a phenomenal feat.
Cape Point is 2 hours outside of Cape Town CBD, but the drive is a feast for the eye.
Cape Point, known as the most southern part of Africa, which is wrong because it's actually Cape Agulhas. But I can believe why people think that, because it goes into a point and you don't see any land to your left or your right.
Funny enough, I've lived in Cape Town for so many years and I'd never actually been to Cape Point. And once you get there, you think, you don't see anything, you just see flat land. And you've got to walk and you've got to take one of the little trams to the top because it's quite a climb. And then when you reach the top, you're standing by this massive beacon of power, this lighthouse, and you just look upon the most incredible view of the most beautiful beaches, rocky outcrops and cliffs. It's just magnificent. Oh. This view. Now, the lighthouse here at Cape Point is the biggest on the southern African coast. Its range is, in fact, 63 kilometers. And you know how strong it is? Each light and each pulse that it flashes is of 10 million candle power. Oh, I just want to get into my bikini and lie on that beach right there. It looks so inviting.
Very inviting, but also very rough. And it's no wonder that they call this place the Cape of Storms, because in actual fact, there are two currents that converge here. It's the cold Benguela current and the warm Agulhas current. They meet each other slap bang in the middle of Cape Point. We are talking about some of the most treacherous waters in the world. There's been 26 recorded shipwrecks.
Recorded? Imagine those that weren't recorded. Wow.
Look at that.
It's breathtaking.
You have to admit, if you want extremes and dramatic landscapes, Africa is definitely the place to come to.
It is, I agree.
Although you have to pay a small fee to get in, it's so worth the while because the nature's so untouched. You have natural game running around and the location is just so unique. Let's be honest now, nothing beats home, sweet home.
This is the Camps Bay Strip and it is my favorite place in the world. It's one of the most bustling cities where you can find the hottest bars, clubs and restaurants in the country. And also, pinned with the most spectacular backdrop that wherever you look, you've got the most pristine scenery.
The girls are sexy, the guys are good looking, the energy is there, there are people on the streets, the food's great. I can't stop saying good things about it.
I'm so glad to be home. Walking along Camps Bay Main Road, we call it the Camps Bay Strip, really gave me a feeling like I'm at home. Because that's what I would do on any other regular day before my travels. And it was just a good nostalgic feeling that I got. You know, 6 months down the line, we're now back at home, and it feels like yesterday that we left. And you know what? We're still friends.
I can't believe that. You know, we've had a couple of little fights. I mean, I'm thinking Dubai was one. Did we have one in Vancouver?
That was nothing.
No, we actually get on so well.
I don't remember ever fighting with you.
I can't believe how quickly 26 weeks goes. But I mean, we were moving from one country to the next. I mean, we didn't stay in a place for longer than 3 days.
You know where I think really tested our friendship and where it was such a fantastic moment because it was completely out of character for me, was when we went on that scrambler in Easter Island.
Oh my goodness. And I didn't know how to ride a bike properly.
Do I really need to entrust my life in this man who just can't even handle a scrambler?
Come back here. Come.
Okay, don't speed, don't stall. Those were my only 2 requirements. Oh, he was cute.
That was one of the most special moments. That island was incredible. Easter Island. I mean, who gets the chance to go to Easter Island? It's
I know.
Just, and you know, India was
very special.
And you know what? It's completely unexpected because I was expecting something completely different. And when we first arrived, I remember going into the Imperial and thinking, oh my goodness. And then that contrast from going to the Imperial into Delhi. You know what? It's the one place that I feel out of all the places, all the countries we went to, it's the one place that really touched me. I left there thinking I've gained something.
Thank you very much. What are these?
This is a Viento.
A Viento. Thank you.
Looks very healthy, mojito. What would you say? What would you say out of all the places we've been to? Which one was the most unique, the most special to you personally?
I think my favorite place in terms of experience was Alaska. That dog sledding for me was out of this world. And I was completely overwhelmed by all those mountains, all that snow, and the strength of those little poochies. It was
incredible.
Spectacular.
But you know, my personal, and I don't know, it was just a place I always wanted to go to, was to Aubusson in France.
let's just face it, I mean, Aubusson's a small little town, it's not a major holiday destination, but the fact that my dad bought a house there and he told me all the stories about this fantastic small little place, and we had the opportunity of sharing that together, that was priceless.
This journey was also filled with a lot of personal experiences, but also incredibly rare highlights of us crossing and traveling to places that we would never go in a lifetime. There aren't obvious holiday destinations. So the Amazon jungle. Oh. Big highlight for me.
Incredible.
My favorite part was when the tarantula sort of went for the stick that you were holding and you went, oh, it's attacking me.
Oh, you can't. You know what, when I realized the spider was the size of my finger and I overreacted like that, I was quite embarrassed.
I actually always used to make this joke. When people used to ask me, when are you getting married? I would say, when I get back from Australia. Because I had absolutely no intention of ever going to Australia because I didn't have a very positive idea about the place until I went to Sydney. That was such an amazing city. It was vibrant, it was modern, and there was so much to do. So much so that it inspired us to jump out of an aeroplane, which is definitely one of those pinch yourself moments for me. It's really, really cold, but this is so beautiful. This is the reason that birds sing.
That experience, skydiving together, going up there, you can't get a moment that bonds two people together more than that.
Okay, all in all, 26 weeks, 26 amazing destinations. Any regrets?
Not one single regret.
Me too. I ate everything, I jumped off everything, I drank everything, and I went everywhere. I had a cocktail with Janez, and it saddened me so much, really, because we were reminiscing about our travels, and it made me realize how much I adore him and how much I adore spending time with him, and now it's over.
Okay, wait. I've got one regret.
What is that?
Vancouver, we went up onto the mountain, and you dared me to go onto the log for that log running thing. And yeah, you didn't give me any preparation time. You put me up against the world champ. And I know to this day that had you given me enough time, I would have been able to do it.
Okay, Janez, shake my hand. Every day I offered you, you took. And you took it like a man. You even jumped into the Ganges. So I promise you, you've got nothing to prove to me. You are my Spartan hero, and I'm going to completely miss traveling with you.
And you, my Spartan princess, baby. Whatever you do, don't look down.
Oh my God! Why are we not there yet? I'm actually trying to go faster just to get off here. Oh no, don't let me go faster! All in all, if I have to sum up the past 6 months of my life, I wouldn't even be able to write a book because I don't think many people would believe me. From Amazon to Alaska, and I think I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about some of my closest friends who were with me on this journey. This was the best time of my life, and I say that with every meaning in my heart. These past 6 months made my world.